Hello everyone, welcome to Coders Camp, and today we are going to cover another interesting problem, design underground system. So here we have to implement three methods in underground system. The first method is check-in, second is checkout, and finally get average time. So the check-in function is used to get us the value of a customer ID and the customer starting station and the time he starts from that station, and checkout time will get us the customer ID and the station he gets out or check out and the time he arrive at the station. Average time will return the average time took to travel from one destination to other. So let's understand this with an example. So consider there is a station and having so many destinations. A customer with ID 45 enters the station and travels to the last station in 15 minutes. So now in our input, first they have given the customer 45 started at station Leighton and at the time 3. So and he reached Waterloo at the time 15. So the time took for him to travel from Leighton to Waterloo was 15 minus 3, that is 12 minutes. So now considering the customer 2, that is customer 32 with ID 32 started from Paradise and traveled to Cambridge by the time starting at 10 and ending at 22. So from Paradise to Cambridge it took him 22 minus 8, that is 14 minutes. And finally checking our third customer, that is customer with ID 27 who traveled from Leighton to Waterloo in 10 minutes, that is 20 minus 10, 10 minutes. So again Leighton to Waterloo it took him 10 minutes. So now our get average time method will implement the average time it took to travel from one station to other. So if it is asking for Leighton to Waterloo, there are two persons traveled from Leighton to Waterloo and the time took was 12 minutes for the first person and 10 minutes for the second person. So we have to take the average. So 10 plus 12, 22 by total number of persons traveled is the answer. So which is 11. It is returning 11 in double. So now the next station it has asked was Paradise to Cambridge. It has been traveled by only one person so far. So it will be like total by one number of person traveled. So 14 by 1 is going to be the average. So 14 is the answer. So how are we going to implement this? So overall the data provided for us is the customer ID, the starting station, ending station and the time. So we have to have a data structure that stores all this information. So for every customer ID, there is a starting station, ending station and time. So we are designing a class called trip, and the trip is going to have the starting station and the ending station and the starting time and the ending time. So now we are going to have a map customers, and this customers is going to have ID, comma, trip. So for every ID the customer enters, that is check-in or check-out, we are going to update this table customers. For that particular ID, the trip information he is traveling, that is the starting station and time, ending station and time. And we're going to have one more map which is durations, which is going to have the key as the station details, that is starting station to ending station as the key, and an integer array which is going to hold the total time it took to travel from that starting station to that ending station and the average number of persons traveled from that station. So now for example, take our first data, our ID 45 is starting from Leighton. So whenever we come across the check-in method, our check-in method is going to put or update the data in our customers map. So in that map, it is going to put customer ID as 45 and the starting station as Leighton and the time it started as 3. So our check-in method will overall update this customer map, and that's it, its job is done. So moving on to a third method before checking our checkout method, that is get average time. So we know the get average time will actually get the total time from the particular starting station to ending station divided by the overall average number of persons traveled in that route. So this data is going to be in this table durations. So what we're going to do every time we call the get average method, we are going to get details of that particular starting to ending station from the duration map and divide the total time by persons traveled and return the results. So that is also simple. Now the main job is to implement checkout method. So in checkout method, we need to update both the methods, customers as well as duration. So every time a customer check out, we are going to update in that ID. We already have updated our starting station and the starting time in our trip. So now in checkout, we'll get the details of ending station and ending time. So we are going to update that in our customer map. So that is done. Now our job is to update our duration map. Here, once we get the starting station and ending station, we are going to create a key of string, that is starting station hyphen ending station. So for that particular key, we are going to update the array total time and the number of person. If it is the first time we are entering this key, we are simply going to update the ending time minus starting time as the total time traveled and the person as 1. If not, if the key is already present in the map, we are going to update the sum to already existing sum, also increment the person by 1. So now let's see how are we going to implement this in code. So yes, first let us create a class for our trip. So here we have created a class for our trip where we have defined two string variables in station and out station and two integer variable in time and out time, and we have a constructor which is storing the in station and in time of that class trip. So now going on to our underground class, we have two maps as I said, one is customer and other is duration. So yes, we have defined two maps and we are going to initialize that inside our underground system constructor method. So now it's time to update our check-in method. So job of our check-in method is to update our customer's map with the particular ID and the station and time he traveled. So yes, job of our check-in method is done. So now going to our checkout method, we are going to update both the maps, customer and duration. So first, before updating the customer map, we have to pull the customer details first because we have to update on that particular ID. In our check-in method, we are updating it for the first time. But in our checkout method, we will be updating in the existing customer detail. So first, let's get the customer and then update it. So this try is an object for the trip class which had the details of station name and time. So yes, we have updated our customer table with the outstation and time of that customer traveled or checked out. So now it's time to update our duration map. First, we are going to construct our key, that is a string of starting station to ending station. So we are taking that from our trip table because once the customer is checked out only we will get from which station to which station he has traveled. So now I'm going to update my duration map with the second part, that is an integer, which is the total time traveled from that particular station, between that particular station, and the number of persons traveled. So if my duration map already has the key, we are going to update the existing sum. If not, we are going to update it for the first time. So we have checked whether the key is already existing in my duration map. So if it is already there, I'm going to update my sum of total time traveled and increment the user or the customer by 1. If not, I'm going to update the time and the customer as 1. So job of checkout is also done. So now time to update my get average time method. So here we are going to get the integer array from the duration map. So once we got the array index of 0 is going to have the total, and index of 1 is going to have the total number of users or customers. So yes, we just simply return the average. So we have done implemented all these three methods. So let's run the code now. Let's submit. So yes, our solution is accepted. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, hit like and subscribe. Thank you.